Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Tristan, and today in this video, what I got going on for you guys, I'm going to get into 3 tips for holding sneakers this year, if that's what you're interested in. Really just what you kind of need to look into and keep in mind if you're going to be interested in this, if you're going to do this. Just keep, use these tips because it'll kind of help you out with making sure you manage it and also just kind of, still have money for other drops. So if you want more content like this, check my Instagrams, any of that down below, and you guys can subscribe and like for more. Let's try to 200 likes on this video. That'd be great if we could do that. Really appreciate the support y'all have shown here lately. I'm going to keep posting as much as I can for y'all. And don't forget, if y'all want to, check out my friend and I's group down below, HYPELABS. Get on that wait list. We can help you improve as a reseller with everything we offer. You guys can see it on the screen. So don't miss out. Our profitable clothing backdoors, undermarket deals. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. Oh, exclusive Bricklink calls, online loops for cash, Amazon freebies, so you can get those free items and sell them, locally, whatever you may want to do. So there's so many opportunities within there, so do not sleep, and see y'all there. So hope y'all will enjoy. Use that if y'all want to. Here's some recent deals we did. Y'all can see some examples on the screen. So don't sleep, and let's go. So one of my first pieces of advice I really want to get into with you guys is not just holding one pair of shoes. Now, it depends on what this single pair of shoes is. If it's a very valuable pair, like a Travis Scott low that goes for, several $100s, or goes for, like $1,000, then I understand why you might be holding on to it. It makes sense to me, especially if you hit it for retail. You're never going to take a loss on that shoe. So it's like, why not? Over time, they're not being produced anymore. There's a few things like that you look into and you're like, okay, that's a good bet, and it's fine to just hold maybe one of those if again you hit it for retail. But if you paid like up for one of those pairs, personally what I'd be doing, unless again you already paid the high for it, so you're like, all right, I got to kind of hold on to this one, I would probably just sell it and then look into investing into other pairs, or again keeping that money for future drops so you can flip whatever pairs will be on the way. Because that's one of the better things to look into, is making sure that you can just resell consistently. Because yes, it is nice to hold on to a lot of pairs, but sometimes it's better to just have more money for readily available drops, or a shock drop that may happen, whatever it is. So again, you can get a couple pairs from that and then flip those ones and then have more money for even more releases, or again then have some extra money right there for some holds you can buy. So there's just other things you should look into like that, and I personally really recommend this tip. Just mainly knowing when to hold a shoe. Again, if it's one of those ones, it's like maybe like a Jordan 4, just one pair of them, they go for like $250, $300, and yeah, probably just flip that, because a year from now it'll only be like $350. So it's not like something where you're gonna make much more just holding on to it. It's better to just flip it, and you can definitely make more than 50 reselling shoes with that available cash than just holding on and doing nothing. But again, if you have a lot of capital, I understand if you have like 15 pairs of a certain shoe and you're holding on to it. That makes sense. It makes more sense than just holding one pair of something, you know what I mean? Because you have more in it. At least, I'm trying to show y'all what I mean right here. You can see there's not many pairs where I'm just holding one of them. There's some like older like vintage SBs where I'm holding one pair, but you can see there's a lot where I got multiples. Yeezy slides, the recent foam runners, like that's what I mean. And also when it comes to holding any sneakers, you don't want to put all your money just into one shoe, or you don't just have money ready for the drops. That's my main first tip. Don't just be holding one shoe, and make sure you still have cash available for whatever may be about to drop. So I guess the second tip I really want to get into is kind of the understanding the numbers of when it's good to hold a pair versus kind of sell a pair. So again, I'll give you all kind of the metrics here if this kind of makes sense. So when it comes to holding on to any pair, I really try and at least have 3 of it or 2 of it. That I really don't, again, try and hold singular versions of pairs. It's best to at least have a couple of that pair before the hold really becomes worth it. Because let's be real, there's not many sneakers that are just going up hundreds of dollars. And if you want to make hundreds of dollars off holds, then more or less it's gonna have to be with multiple pairs of that one shoe. It's not, again, one shoe isn't gonna go up like hundreds of dollars in a singular size usually, or if it does, it's gonna take a long time. So it's not one of those ones where you're just like, okay, this isn't gonna, I'll be right there. No, usually for one shoe to go up hundreds of dollars in every size, that takes a while. So let's say one shoe goes up in all sizes like $50. Let's say you're holding 5 sizes across that shoe, then the hold becomes more worth it. And if you have capital available for that hold, because you haven't put all your money into that one shoe, because you still have money for regular releases, then you're good to go. Boom, there's an extra $250. You can just sell those pairs and then invest into the next hold, with that money that you have there, because you still should have some cash ready for drop. So you probably wouldn't need that money for those releases. But if you wanted to put half towards those new drops and then put the half back into holding shoes, there's always ways that you can think of it and just kind of decide what you want to do from there. So personally, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm at least having 2 to 3 versions, not not 2 to 3 versions, but 2 to 3 sizes of a single pair before I even think about it being worth holding. If I only have one pair of a shoe, I'm just selling it because that's probably the best bet. So, I can just flip whatever's upcoming. And also, I guess we could get into this as well. This is another kind of important thing to understand. Really, if let's say you have $1,000, that's really the amount where I'd say, okay, you should probably just stick with, again, flipping the new drops. But getting into holds is when you have, a few thousand available, for sneaker reselling, whatever it may be. It's not one of those things that, if you only have $1,000, you're like, oh, I'm going to hold a bunch of pairs with this $1,000. No, the best bet would be to just flip these. It would be better to get into something like brick flips, which again, we can show you down below. And for anybody that doesn't understand what brick flips is, basically it's getting a shoe that would normally sit and then, getting a bunch of discounts for it and then flipping that sneaker to apps locally, whatever it may be, because you paid a really low price in the shoe. So although it normally sits at whatever price it is, like the retail price, maybe it's like $100. Let's say again, after all the discounts, you paid like $50. Boom, they can go sell that to somebody for like $80 locally, or maybe even on apps. Let's say it goes for like $90, so it's not much less. Then you can make some pretty decent profit doing that. So I really recommend brick flips. That's another really consistent thing you can do to get more money for holds. Or again, if you're just like there isn't a lot going on with drops right now, so you're like, okay, I need to find something that's kind of like I'm gonna do my holds here and then I'm gonna do this type of reselling. Get into brick flips. I mean, the consistency is there and it's really easy to find calls for it. So heavily recommend that, and just again recommend those 2 tips with your holds. If you only have like $1,000, don't get into sneaker holds. Just keep it available for new releases. And also, I try and at least have a couple sizes of a pair, like 2 or 3, before I even think about holding it. If I only have one size of a certain pair, unless it's like like a vintage SB or something like that, I'm not holding on to it. There's no point. It's better to again just sell and go for whatever's next. And finally, my final tip I have right here for sneaker holds, anything to do with it, is the timing behind them. So when it comes to timing your sneaker holds and figuring out when to buy them, things like that, of course there are things that can happen before releases. For example, like with the recent Born and Raised SB, that can cause the sneaker to go up in price, and that was unexpected. We weren't really predicting the price to go up just like that, and that SB isn't even set to drop anymore. So there's been a couple things that have gone on with that one that kind of make it really hard to determine. But also just like we're not even focused on holding that shoe right now. There's a lot going on over there with Born and Raised. I mean, that's a hectic situation. I can't fully explain it because I wasn't, like, I'm gonna be honest, like I don't even like follow the Born and Raised like brand that much. I have been reporting on the sneaker because I like what they've been doing, and I think it's really cool to put on Born and Raised even further. But yeah, just it's wild that the creator would pass away like that, and then yeah, I mean, of course the sneaker would then be postponed. So who knows when that one's happening, but eventually I think. But when it comes to timing your sneaker holds, I really recommend you don't buy the sneaker before the release. It's best to usually wait 2 to 3 weeks before you can even think about buying the pairs to hold. But sometimes with things like Yeezy slides, like for example the recent Onyx slide that did restock, that one was really good to buy right after it dropped, because again there was only 50,000 pairs of those that restocked, so it was pretty limited, which means that most of the people that had pairs were probably people that got them in a backdoor or botters. Not a lot of people really hit those manually, so kind of understanding that those ones have already risen a good amount. So it's kind of like I'm not really looking at those too much as a hold anymore. While it's still you can buy pairs now, unless you're really getting a good deal, it's not worth it too much. So just kind of want to mention that. But usually it is good to wait. That's just what I want to say. You don't have to buy them right after release date. You can wait again if you feel comfortable doing that. And if the sneaker isn't going to be dropping a ton once pairs land in hand, then again you can feel comfortable to buy that one before they start landing. But if you guys want more content just like this, feel free to subscribe and like down below. Don't forget, let's try and hit 200 likes on this video. That would mean a lot to me. And let me know what have you all been holding on to recently. Mainly for me, recently it's been the Onyx slides, the Azure slides. I'm trying to think of another one. I mean, there's been a couple others, but mainly those ones have been what I've been interested in. And the MX Cinders, N7 SBs. There's been a few ones that I feel like over time they're kind of slipped on now, but again, give them a bit and they're really gonna make some progress, I think. And I think that's the case with a lot of these recent Yeezy restocks and new drops, and because the market's just down right now, so we just have to understand that. But also, don't forget, if y'all want to check us out down below at HYPELABS, become a better reseller. Again, don't forget I was talking about those brick flips. That's a really good way to stay consistently profiting as a reseller, or Amazon freebies, undermarket sneaker deals. We do those for members, giveaways weekly, so many other things. So don't miss out on that, because we're always trying to provide the best, and I hope to see you guys there. So I'm Tristan. Thank you all, and hopefully I will catch you guys in the next video very, very soon. Should be tomorrow, but we'll see. Peace.